Hey, so welcome to Constructor and Begin Play Timing. A little bit more fun than it sounds. What we're going to know by the end of this is, I'll explain the donkey as we go through, but what we're going to know at the end of it is exactly what order C++ and Blueprint Construction and Begin Plays get called in, and this becomes super important as we build on our architecture. So let's dive in and see how this happens. So with all this talk of what happens when, you might quite rightly be feeling, I'm not quite sure what's happening when now, I've kind of lost the plot. So let's look at that a bit more carefully. I'm going to go to the Tank UI blueprint graph. I'm just going to remove this debug stuff that I put in last time, which is where we took the tank aiming component reference and printed it out as a string. We know that that's not getting set. We'll look at why architecturally later. So I'm just going to reconnect the aim point as it was before and leave that code as not working. I think what is worth doing though is putting a comment in here, just like you would in code, to do check this is set. Okay, because this is not getting set at the right time. But this is not the aim of this video. The aim of this video is to start looking at what happens when, both in terms of the constructors and the begin plays. You saw in the last video how to print from Blueprint, and you know very well how to log from Visual Studio. I just want to show you one other thing about printing from Blueprint before I set you a very early challenge in this lecture. When you print something, you've got a couple of options here. You can You can choose the string, but I would just hard code the string in there for now. You can print to the screen, which comes up on the viewport, but you can also print to the log. Now this will come out as gray text on the log. This text color here determines the text color that is coming into the screen, not onto the log. Okay, so the log's just going to come out black and white. And for that reason, when you print, I'm going to want you to consider using a prefix. Now I'm going to just use the word donkey because that hardly appears anywhere, but you could use a UUID if you wanted. What do I mean by a UUID? If you ever want to get yourself a short sequence of something unique like our coupon codes, you can just type UUID generator into Google and get something like this, any part of this string. Depends how long you want it. You could use a UUID in here, and you could say something colon, and then you can say tank blueprint constructed type of thing, okay? But that's not what we're doing here. I'm just showing you that technique so that you are now ready to do your challenge. So your challenge is this. I want you to convince yourself with logs what happens when. Log out the construction and the begin play for the tank, both in C++ and in Blueprint. So in the C++, I want you to put something in the constructor and the begin play. If the begin play is not on the tank, you need to put it back. And then add a single unique prefix to all of your log entries. Not a different one for every log, but they all want to be prefixed with, say, donkey. Because what you're then going to be able to do is filter the logs so that you can see the wood for the trees and just see the things you're interested in. Okay? So the logs that you get from C++, if you log it, warning verbosity will come out yellow. The ones that come from Blueprint will come out as the standard color. Put the same prefix in front of all of these logs, and let's see what happens in what order. Do the Blueprint constructors run and then the C++, or the other way around, and when does begin play run? Convince yourself of this. Go ahead, pause the video, and let's make this discovery now. Okay, welcome back. So not really any particular place to start. I'm going to start on the tank blueprint here. We already have begin play. What I'm going to do is wire in this print statement straight after begin play. I can do that by taking the execution off here. I can say print. Just for fun, you see what it did, by the way, when I did print like that, it automatically put it in the loop, so we're good to go. It will automatically be printing to the screen and the log. I'm happy with that. The thing I'm interested in is that it prints to the log. I tend to leave these as default. We don't need to change anything. That way we get any logs we see in the viewport tend to have come from Blueprint, and any logs we see on the log may have come from Blueprint or C++. I'm going to prefix this with the word donkey, just so that we can see it in the logs. You'll see that working in a minute. And then I'm going to say BP or tank BP, and this is the begin play. Okay, so that's that one. Let's just see that work before we carry on nice and lean. Now, where is it? You see we've got a lot of stuff in the logs here. I could search through them, or I could just look for donkey. And there are no other donkeys. You get 3 tank BP begin plays. I think to keep things simple, I'm going to delete one of the AI tanks, clear the logs. The filter will stay, play again, and you see we just got 2. And they are the 2 tanks. One of them is the AI tank. There's probably this 34891 is probably the AI tank. You can confirm that in the world outliner. Yes, it is. And the C_0 is us, the player tank. Cool, so then we've done that for begin play. Now, by the way, if you didn't know what I meant in the challenge for any reason, and you didn't finish the challenge, then I'll take responsibility for it not quite being clear enough. But I do want you to stop the video now and continue this for the construct of the tank, and then I want you to put the logs into the C++ as well, because I think the challenge should now be totally clear. All right, so moving into here, I'm just going to copy this print string node, go to the construction, click into the construction graph and click paste, Control C and Control V. Just going to change this slightly to tank BP construct, compile it and run it, and you'll notice that, best to clear the logs first, that you can see what's going on now. The tank blueprint constructs, the tank blueprint begin play for the player, and then the tank blueprint begin play for the AI tank. But where is the construct for the AI tank? Interesting, hey? Well, look at this. What happens with this AI tank, actually, if we take it out of the scene, clear the logs, go to our content browser, look, you see what's happening? Even when I move the mouse over the word tank BP, you see this construct's getting called all the time? There's actually an option inside the tank blueprint. If we go into the tank blueprint, you can actually see under class settings of the tank blueprint, run construction. In fact, I think it says more than that. Yeah, run construction script on drag. We can turn that off if we want under the details of the tank blueprint, under the class settings. Then, if I clear the log, when I hover over the tank, actually it's not working, it's still doing it. So there you go. But that is supposed to influence that. If you then drop the tank into the world, clear the log, then you can see that moving it around isn't affecting it until I let go. Up, down, okay? Now if we go back to the tank BP and turn that back on and compile, I think you'll find what happens now is as I move the tank, every single frame, yeah, it's calling construct. So that's the effect it has. It always calls construct as I hover over here, but this tick box here decides whether every frame or just when you let go of the tank does it call its construction. I'm going to do it only when I let go of the tank. With a more complex game object with slow construction, this is just an optimization for the editor so that dragging things down round doesn't slow things down. So to recap, if I move the tank now, when I let go, it constructs that tank. So that is when that tank gets constructed, okay? That's why that was missing from the list. Pretty cool. Okay, now let's go find any logs that we've got in here. I don't like having too many logs around, so I'm going to search the current project for UE log in a case-sensitive way. And actually, it's not anywhere, so we don't seem to have any logs. That's fine. In the tank CPP constructor, I'm going to go UE log, log temp, warning, and then I'm going to put the text in that says something very simple. Tank, oh, do we want the name of the tank? We probably do. Auto tank name equals get name, something like that, which is going to be a string, which we're going to put in here. And we need to do this star operator on, strange overloaded operator they use there. And then I'm just going to say %s. Let's see what the blueprint one prints like. It says the tank name, donkey colon, and then tank underscore BP can begin play. So that should do us something like this. Donkey tank C++ construct. Okay, let's test that nice and lean. So we compile, check to make sure that this whole paradigm is working, and then we can do the same thing for begin play. Of course, we've got to put begin play back, and there's going to be something a little bit interesting in begin play. We need to decide if we call super or not, but we'll worry about that in a moment. Okay, let's play. There you go. We're getting the identifiers on these tanks. Let's just clear the log and start afresh. We're seeing that the tank C++ construct works for both of these guys, and then the tank blueprint construct is working, then the begin play. Cool, so that's giving us an idea as to what's doing what when. Now let's go ahead and put begin play back in. We removed it before. And just going to have a look. Did we get a tank blueprint begin play? No, look, we're not getting the blueprint begin play of the tank. Oh yes we are, sorry, it's here. It's here. Okay, that's fine. So now notice something interesting. A tank begin play, just add it back in. And let's not call super, but I'm going to put super question mark there for a moment. Now let's put tank back into, we can put it in the private section because of Unreal Magic. Remember, it's a virtual method. It's void because nothing comes back. Begin play, no arguments. Override, because we want to check that we're matching a signature. So we're re-adding begin play. Let's recompile and see what happens. It'd be interesting to see that when we don't call super, whether or not the blueprint's begin play gets called, because it'd be quite easy to remove begin play and put it back and not put super. I want you in the habit, if you ever add begin play back, to really think, do I want super or do I not want to call the super class behavior? So let's clear the logs, play the game. And look at this, the tank blueprint begin play is no longer running. Please take note, okay? That will cause you monstrous problems later if you're not careful. You're going to want your tank blueprint begin plays to work. Otherwise, all that code that sits here in event graph is not going to run after begin play. So the reason it's not being called is because we need to be calling super. So this is a good option to put in super begin play and then to comment, needed for blueprint begin play to run. I'm even going to put an exclamation. I think it's a bit weird, but it's obviously doing some hookup in the superclass. You could look in the source code if you were super keen, that makes this work. So you do need that. Really important lesson here. So we're nearly there. We are going to now just look at the results, and then I think as the video is 10 minutes long, we will talk about the results in the next lecture. So let's clear the logs, play the game. Okay, cool. So we have the Tank 38 donkey. Donkey is just here to filter the logs. Remember, if I didn't put the word donkey in front, what's all this donkey about? Remember that let's clear the logs and have a look now. Not so easy. We've got other errors, which we're going to talk about in a bit, once we get our architecture right. And then somewhere in here, these logs in different colors, really hard to see. But donkey, easy to see. Okay, simple trick for you there. So what we're getting is we're getting the C++ constructor for both of the tanks, and then we're getting the blueprint constructor and then the blueprint begin plays. That's the sequence that's happening when we play from here. I did also say I wanted you to do it from the main menu, so let's go to the main menu, clear the logs, play the game. When you click start, let's see what happens. You get exactly the same thing, but you get one extra thing, which is that the AI tank does run its constructor on entry into the battleground scene. Okay, so that's the difference, and it can catch you out. If you keep playing from this battleground, it's not a true test of the game because this tank that's sitting there has already been constructed. Okay, so that's the thing. We get, when we play from here, we get, look at the count log entries, we get 4 of them with no Tank 38 blueprint construct, just doesn't exist. Go from the main menu, play here, you get 6 entries, and one of those is Tank 38 blueprint construct, which is this one here, happens quite early. Okay, cool. Enough said on that. Congratulations. I hope you now understand a lot more about what happens in what order. This is going to become very important as we move forward with Unreal in general, but also with this project. And I'll see you in the next video.